Such a beautiful day out today. It's crazy how warm it's been. It's the first couple days of March here, and I've never seen weather like this out here in March. But I'm excited because I have a video for you guys today for a set of speakers that are wildly affordable, yet sound extremely musical. They're smooth, they're punchy, they're rich, they have a big, bassy, mid-range. They have punch. Drums sound like drums. Music sounds like music. These are not crazy audiophile speakers, but if you're looking for a speaker that is musical, rich, and sounds good with everything and will get you up off your butt to move, you're going to want to watch this video today. I promise you. Today I want to talk about a set of speakers that are different from most other speakers that I've reviewed over the past several years. These are bookshelf style speakers. They come in at around $1,200. They are offered by Galion Audio, which is headed up by Thomas of the Thomas and Stereo YouTube channel. Now, Thomas, I used to watch his reviews over the years. And last year, I reviewed his TS120 integrated tube amp, which was quite different from other integrated tube amps. And now I have a set of speakers here, which are called the TS Voyager TLs, and the TL stands for transmission line. These are a transmission line design. You have a little woofer and a little tweeter, and I have to say, these speakers sound so much different than anything I've recently heard, and I've really been enjoying listening to them, and I'm going to tell you why they stand out, why they're different, and why you may love this speaker. First of all, they're $1,200, and they sound fantastic, but they don't sound like your typical audiophile speakers. What do you get for $1,200? You get a speaker that was designed to be smooth. It was designed to have a big, warm mid-range, and plenty of bass coming from these speakers. So these ship with little foam pieces that you can stuff inside of the bass port to tame down the bass. In my room, I put the half of foam piece inside, and what this did was cut down on that big bass a little bit and yet open up that top end at the same time. So with that half piece in, I was getting the benefits of having that detail and that wonderful bass. But the star of the show with these speakers is for sure the mid-range, vocal range, listening to Frank Sinatra, right? It's going to bring Frank into the room with you. These excel at rock, hard rock, and heavy metal. You know, heavy metal and hard rock need that bass foundation, that guitar punch, the drum kick, and these really deliver in that aspect. I spent days listening to hard rock and heavy metal. But at the same time, I was also listening to audiophile music on these to see what they would sound like, and they never disappointed. Yes, they are a warm speaker, but this makes them really extremely musical. And what I mean by that is, I was getting up, Debbie was getting up, we were dancing around the room, which we do sometimes. But these, what I loved about them was the fact that that drum kick was there with presence and power. The electric guitars came into the room with authority and crunch, and the treble was never in any case overdone. I never said, ooh, that treble's a little harsh or bright. In fact, the treble is super smooth, but it's really there. Now, when I was listening at first, I wasn't getting that imaging I'm used to. I was getting a nice wide sound stage, but I wasn't getting the airy highs. I wasn't getting the imaging I was used to. But then I decided to throw in the Galion TS-A75 amplifier. This is an amplifier. You'll need a preamp for it. Puts out 75 watts of Class AB power. And Thomas touts this amp as an airy amp with detail and a wide three-dimensional sound stage. When I hooked that up, I used my Access Forte 1 as a preamp, which it makes for an excellent preamp. And wow, these speakers started imaging. The treble became a little more open, but it was still super smooth. The bass was even tighter and bigger, and the mid-range sounded beautiful. Paired with Thomas's amp, they sounded absolutely gorgeous. I then threw in the Brunoco tube integrated amp that I recently reviewed, and that gave me a silky sound as well. Maybe a little bit fuller in the mids than Thomas's, but not as quite there with the imaging. So the Galion TSA75 amplifier was sounding killer with the Galion TL Voyager speakers. I was just enjoying listening to song after song, no matter what source I used, whether it was a record, whether it was Spotify, Tidal, or Qobuz. Everything just sounded musical, no matter what I played through. Who are the Galion TS Voyager TL speakers for? That's kind of a long name. I think it stands for Thomson Stereo Voyager Transmission Line Speaker. But who are they for? They are for someone who wants a warm musical presentation. It's for someone who might be allergic to really bright highs or stringent highs, because this speaker will not go there in regards to the treble. You get a nice smooth treble that's extended, but it's not piercing. This is for someone who values mid-range over everything else. Now, the low bass here is fantastic. These put out a nice solid bass, but most of that bass is coming from that mid-range area. So things like drums, kick drums, things like the guitars I was talking about, and vocals will come out into the room in a rich, big, full way. This is not a lean sounding speaker. If you're tired of lean sounding speakers, and there's a ton of them out there, this is a speaker that will cure that issue for you. As a matter of fact, I've been listening to these nonstop, and I didn't want to take them out, but I have other speakers to review. I've been having more fun listening to these than some of the big audiophile speakers, and it's simply because it allowed me to get up, rock out, and just enjoy whatever I played through them. If you're tired of speakers that sound good with only one genre of music, and that's a thing too, these will cure that for you as well. Now, they are a little darker and warmer than most speakers. You're not going to have that all-out airiness with the notes hanging in the air. You're not going to have the most three-dimensional presentation, but that's not what this speaker is about for me. This speaker is about just enjoying music, and I love products that let you just enjoy the music instead of worrying about and analyzing the performance of the gear. So these are a lot of fun. I'm keeping a pair here for future reference and comparisons because they are that good. If I didn't do reviews here on YouTube, and if I didn't always have gear coming in, and say I just lived in a house where I had a small area for a stereo, I would most likely pick these Thomson Stereo Voyager TL speakers as my main speakers. I might even pair it with the simple Brunoco tube integrated to avoid having to go separates, though Thomas's TSA75 amp in my first listening with it sounded superb. So there's many options here, but I would love a little system like that just to have, because I could enjoy music. They sound great with vinyl. Sometimes with vinyl and audiophile speakers, I notice a leanness or a thinness, and you got to pick all the parts just right. The phono stage, the turntable, the cartridge. I'm just using the newest U-Turn audio. It's like $600, Orbit Special for 2023. And I'll be darned if it doesn't sound beautiful right into either of these amps with the TL speakers. So this was an easy review to do because there's nothing really technical here to talk about. There's nothing really audiophile-ish. These are just a speaker that makes music, and it makes music sound really, really good. And it's one of those that'll get your foot tapping and body moving. In fact, many of you would prefer a speaker like this over one of those $8,000 speakers, because to some, when they listen to the high-end speakers, I've been told the music sounds a little fake to them. Back in the day when we were kids, we'd have stereos and listen, and these stereos were not like high resolution or anything like we have today, but their goal was to make music and make music sound good and make you get up and dance. That's what these Voyager TL speakers sound like to me, but a better version of what I had when I was a young guy at 16, 17, 18. These are speakers that are unlike most speakers today, because most speakers today try to wow you with that treble energy and that openness and that beautiful presentation, but they're missing out on one thing. a lot of that airiness and three-dimensionality, a lot of times you lose a little bit of the soul of the music. The TS Voyager TLs deliver that soul because it has the warmth, right? It has the smoothness. It doesn't sound like fake hi-fi. It sounds like music, what you remember music sounding like. So these are really killer speakers for very little money in the grand scheme of things. They sound like music. If these sound like they are up your alley in the way they sound and present music, you will not be disappointed with these speakers. I love them to death. They're awesome. And yeah, very musical. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I will put a link to Thomas's website if you want to check out, or I should say Galion's website. Thomas runs that website. And you can see these speakers for yourself right there. They are 84 dB efficient. They're not the easiest to drive speaker I have here, but I was running them with the WIM amp, which puts out 60 watts per channel, and it was filling this room with plenty of volume. That's another inexpensive system you could go for, the $300 WIM amp, which has a streamer, a DAC, and amp. Hook it up to these speakers, and you're gonna get nice, full musical sound, but they really come alive and they open up more when you give it better amplification. That Bernoco 6L6 integrated tube amp I reviewed last week, beautiful combination. And if you have a preamp, the Galion TSA 75 amp is really special with these. So check it out, and hope you enjoyed this review. I will see you guys in the next one. I have a headphone video coming up where I'm going to compare headphone listening with high-end headphones and a flagship headphone amp from Burson, the Odyssey LCD5s, also the Mezzi 109 Pros. I'm going to talk about listening to those in a high-end setup versus high-end speakers. Which one do I like more? I got to tell you, I've been getting into this Burson Soloist Voyager amp and these Odysseys and these Mezzis, and I've been listening to them at night in bed, and it's been pretty wonderful. But I want to talk about that. What are the differences between a speaker system and a headphone system for those of you who are wondering? So that'll be coming up soon, and I will see you then. Love you all. Bye. If you like this video, guys, thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.